What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. It's a great pod for me today. It's probably a great pod for Alex and Lee. Thanks for showing up because we know it's not a great pod for you today. Uh, I guess the main topic is the North London Derby, and then we're also going to talk about the podcast Derby between Man United and Southampton. uh, Harlaan and Man City. They got another win. Uh, Harlaan had a death in the family, so you know, shout out for you to playing, and I guess it limited him to only 2 goals. He had an off day because he had some sadness that he had to exercise. So you know, that's lucky for Brentford. We're gonna talk about a few things. Chelsea win another game. Is this Maresca thing real? Sancho was involved. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Liverpool losing to Nottingham Forest. Fucking love that. And we got some La Liga news. We got fantasy league, and we'll get into it. So, do you guys feel we should start with the North London Derby first, since
Oh
it's
yeah.
like the biggest match of the week? And
Mm.
Spurs taking an L. And I'm just going to introduce the game. If you're Spurs and you're going to receive at your home kind of red hot Arsenal at the beginning of the season, and they're coming there without Odegaard and without Declan Rice, Calafiori, the other midfielder that they bought from La Liga, and whoever else is missing, you gotta win this derby. No excuses. You know what I mean? This is like it's never gonna fit better into your hands to win this. And so despite the stats, and me and Lee were talking last week, like how were both teams gonna play this? Who was gonna sit back? Who was gonna be defensive? At what points of the game were they gonna do what to each other? And we saw how it unfolded. So Lee, what's your take on this game, North London Derby that Arsenal won?
I mean, I think you laid it out pretty well. You said, this was a great chance for Spurs to win a game. And, I thought when I saw the lineup, I was like, okay, Spurs are going to have a go here because they named an attacking lineup. There was only
Mm-hmm.
one, but only Bentancur was sort of even mildly defensive in that midfield lineup. The rest of them are just all like attacking midfielders or forwards.
Because
Um,
even Romero is attacking, and he's their
yeah,
central defender. Yeah,
yeah. So I thought, okay, they're gonna go for it, and they had the ball. They had chances, but not great chances, and they just didn't do anything. They got Spursy. Um,
yeah,
you know,
hilarious.
they just had the ball without ever really looking like they were going to do anything. It was yeah. I mean, Arsenal came with a game plan. They were gonna obviously surrender the possession, um, but then make sure that they were attacking quickly. And yeah, they looked more dangerous. And yeah, just job done for Arsenal. Really, they've rode out the issue of having those players missing. Rice will be back after a suspension, so at least they get him back. Um, yeah, and just obviously Havertz slotted back in slightly deeper than where he's been playing. Yeah, I just then and it could have been more for Arsenal. If Martinelli had squared that pass rather than trying to curl it into the far corner when it wasn't on, um, they could have maybe got one there. I thought the ref
Yeah,
was a bit interesting in this game as well because he was just dishing cards out like it was Christmas. Um,
yeah,
he didn't really seem like he had great control over the game, but in the end, it wasn't refereeing that influenced it one way or the other. So yeah, Spurs fans can't use that one to explain this excuse. Um, But I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to Spurs not being at that level when it matters. And that's been their problem for a while now.
I mean, the only thing I can add to that is I was going to ask you, is this the coach's fault? Because the way he coaches, he gets you 63% possession of the ball, 15 shots, even though only 5 of them were on target. Arsenal had 4 shots, 7 shots, 4 on target. Spurs, 703 touches. I do feel like a lot of Spurs chances were crosses to Solanke. I'm trying to figure out what type of, maybe one of you can tell me what type of forward Solanke is. Is he like, does he like to receive crosses, ball in behind, or to his feet? I know he's very technical, so I don't know if Spurs was using him right. I also feel like Spurs have a lot of possession in games. They lost to Newcastle, even though they outpossessed them at a similar rate they did to Arsenal. So do they need a 10? Do they need a better 10? And they bought some players, but they're young. There's no game changers off their bench that I'm noticing that like Newcastle played this week and they pull Harvey Barnes off the bench. You know, you could pull, if they, when what's his name? When he's not injured, Callum Wilson, they can take him off the bench. He could score. Spurs don't really, they have speedy wingers, but they're not like they don't they're not going to guarantee you goals. Like they don't, and so whose fault is this? Would you think? Let me just throw that to Alex. Players, coach, or
I
both?
think I mean, to be completely honest, I just watched the second half of the game, but normally I think like when I've seen Spurs games, it frustrates me, like especially the last year when they play Arsenal, because like it was an important game as a City fan because I was like, okay, Spurs, all you gotta do just take a point, just do something. What do? They start playing their stupid high line, like they do, like they were doing. I feel like for a while they were just doing like this crazy stuff, where like they were pushing, like they had like a super high line, and they were making it so easy for like a good team to just destroy. I think like he kind of fixed that now. I think now he's probably working on how to. I think now he has to figure out how to like be more dangerous, because he's already. I think like the high line, it's been somewhat fixed. They're not doing as much. Like they look smarter, because you don't want to give a game away in the first 5 minutes because you're like pushing, and even though you have like a really fast defender, the Dutch guy,
Van de Ven.
Yeah, you want the guy basically like having to be running every play. Now I don't know how he's gonna figure out how to be, because I think like he did what he wanted, right? Like he basically got more possession. Arsenal look a little bit at times at the beginning. They look kind of like, oof, this is gonna be rough. Maybe because Odegaard wasn't there and Rice wasn't in it. So Arsenal, like I think he did what he wanted, just the attacking part. I think like it was just perhaps that's on the players for not being a Son look off. Madison really didn't feel. I didn't really feel like. I think like Madison. I think like sometimes when when he needs to be the man, he doesn't really do it, and he doesn't really step up. I think like it's sometimes that's what frustrates me, because he's a talented player. At least when I watch his first games, I'm like,
But
okay,
is he a
Madison, like
10-10 though? Can he like some people are almost tens. Like sometimes they could break down a defense, or make that through pass. Like, is he the type of guy you think is a 10? He's a 10 in games that he's comfortable in. Like Arsenal
what?
will
I
definitely.
think he kind of
Odegaard's
reminds me
definitely
of.
a 10.
I think he kind of reminds me of like of Ericsson, like a United. Like he's not like a guy that is gonna like solve you the game, but he's like a solid player, but that needs to have someone kind of next to him.
Ericsson was like a solid 10 in his prime,
But
I feel like, for Spurs.
but that's what I'm saying. Like at his prime, he even played with Modric. He had Modric on. He basically had a cast. Like he was basic. I think he played with Modric, right?
I don't know. I think Modric been gone.
Modric is gone. Okay,
Yeah, I
but
think Modric been
I'm
gone.
tripping right now.
Yeah. I feel like like Ericsson was there when Spurs went to the Champions League final, right, Lee?
He
he
was,
was
but
with
he'd been there a little while.
yeah,
Let me just have a look because I'm not sure. I think they may have crossed over a little bit,
right.
maybe briefly at the start of Ericsson's.
Yeah, but yeah, to answer your question, I
Oh no,
don't see
I
him
think
like
it was just one after the other actually.
Right.
I don't see him as like the main like like a playmaker type of like De Bruyne or Fernandez, or I think like even Palmer. I rate him higher than him.
Yeah, 100%. So they need a 10, and they need substitutes that are not young. It's their first time on a big team like that can come off the bench and have some impact. Like, so they're probably a year behind, and I don't know if the fans can have the patience, to like see these young guys get a season in there. Bless you, and like be effective like the next season. And then we got. I'm gonna say one thing about Arsenal, but remind me this. I'm gonna run what Postecoglou said about in the press conference after. Uh, like Arsenal was like, we're missing players, so we're not gonna lose this game. We're leaving here with at least a point because we know people watching at home and the fans won't be pissed because we have the excuse of no Odegaard and no Rice. So then they came to like definitely get a point. But not only did they get a point, they got a win. And then you mentioned the high line of Spurs. If that wasn't the problem this time, like you said, they probably fixed that. It's was the corners, and then Lee. I remember last year after the Everton game, after Everton figured out how to affect the goalkeeper on set pieces, and Arsenal is like they're elite at set pieces, more elite than uh than Man City. So Lee, do you think on this set piece, on this corner, is there anything this goalkeeper could have done? Because the people are blaming him, but they
I
used
mean,
his own defenders against him.
yeah, I mean Gabriel it was a free header. He jumped in the middle of the penalty box with no one on him. That's on the defenders as much or even more so than it is the keeper, I think, because it was just outside the zone where you would expect the keeper to dominate. It was just a little bit further out than where I'd expect the keeper to come and get it. So yeah, I think that's on the defenders really for just allowing him to jump up and just win that header freely because he wasn't being challenged, and it was a good header, but it's a free header off of a great Saka delivery. So got to ask questions of the defense, and just to go back quickly to what you were saying about what Spurs need to change. They need to change the name Tottenham Hotspur Football Club because as long as they've got that name, this will keep happening. They need to do what Arsenal did. They need to move. Go somewhere else. Go different part of London. Change your name. Try again.
They should go to the part of South London where Spurs, where Arsenal was originally. Go there and just take
go
up
to Woolwich.
residency there. Yeah, go to Woolwich. Move to Woolwich.
Be the Woolwich Cockerels or something. I don't know.
I wanna jump back into the thing you were talking about. The head coach. You were saying that like they're elite. There's head coach that they're like the head coach for set pieces. Arteta took him to Arsenal, so he can like
from
Man City. Yeah, it's a German guy. It's like something Nikos Hover or something. But yeah, basically he was that he was the one he used to basically like because I watch a lot of Man City stuff, and you would have players stay after the training just practicing random stuff, him and De Bruyne talking and stuff, and or basically what Yolo wanted, what he didn't want it to have counter attacks from corners. He's like, how can we have the most efficient corner and prevent us from not having a counter attack? Because that's what you see Man City doing a lot of short corners, because he's like, okay, how can we, when we're attacking, purposely trying to create the perfect system. It's like, okay, he realized I don't want to Ruben Diaz, Stones, they're attacking, and how am I gonna do it? But I don't know, but this guy used to work at City, and Arteta took him with him.
I think that's what Postecoglou. The one thing he could do is try to prevent counterattacks on his high line more. And I feel like Newcastle got him last week on a counter after being under pressure most of the game. So it didn't work last week, but I still feel like, what else? You want a coach to play progressive football. He's playing progressive football. He's putting your team in the position to get shots on goal, even though I don't think these were some of the best shots today. There's a lot of lumped in crosses. Arsenal playing super compact. Spurs fans also got to realize how great. I think Arsenal had the best defense in the league last year, and they're bringing that defense into the league this year. And they got Timber back. They have their desired left back that they were missing last season in there. And so even though they have the only Partey is the only person from their starting midfield there, like those, defending is probably one of the asking midfielders to like, I don't even try to really attack. Just be compact and defend. Do that part of this. It's capable for Arsenal to go to that fancy ass brand new shiny stadium and get a point there. So tough one, Spurs fans. That's you lost the North London derby, man. Arsenal came there, and Arsenal needed to win this game because next week it's Man City, which is like you can't. Even a tie would have been tough, but they would have taken it. But now they leave that to go play you guys. Now, tell me about your game this week.
They also got Champions League on Thursday, and they're playing Atalanta, which is not.
Yeah, that's tough too.
It's I mean, obviously, like I think like Arsenal, it's probably like a better team, but Atalanta is like the current champion of the Europa, right? Like they're.
I don't know if Arsenal's the better team because Atalanta is the team that beat Leverkusen last year, the only team to beat Leverkusen last season.
I think like probably most people will bet on Arsenal winning that instead of Atalanta's, but it's I think like Atalanta is like a team that deserves a lot of respect, But
I feel like that coach is better than Arteta.
Interesting take.
Huh?
That's an interesting take.
I mean, he's probably the most stable coach in recent Italian football history. Like he's been there a minute, and he won. He won a trophy. Arteta won an FA Cup, but I would say the Europa League is bigger. And then the way he won the Europa League, who he won, he also beat Liverpool last year on the way to that. So, and he's one of the coaches I would have let Ten Hag go for, like at the beginning of the season. So, tell me about this Brentford win.
I remember we had like last year. I think we played Brentford, and I think we draw at it. Brentford came and we draw against them, and I forgot how nice they play. Like because like this sort of teams that I don't really pay attention too much. Only when you play against them.
Because you're snobs, and you have you have court cases to think about, so you don't have time.
Correct. On Monday I'm gonna have to be watching. I wanna have my computer at work like opening up. Hey man,
Premier League court TV on Monday. Nobody misses.
I have not been able to sleep. Like having it's been rough. That's I wake up at night saying like, are we in second division? Are we in first division?
Second. You're lucky if by the points they take you'll be in second. You'll be in League One by the time with Everton. At least you'll be playing in a nice stadium when you play Everton.
I saw signs saying like take 40 points away from us, we'll still finish above Man United. And it's like we might.
You won't. But I did say last year that if they took 50 points from you guys would still stay in the league. That's how good you are. So people are talking about relegation. I don't think they'll take more than 50. If they take 40, you guys are still, Arteta might win the league, and I don't know how that's gonna feel if you're an Arsenal fan or you know what I mean,
or any other team. Yeah,
or any
exactly.
other
Or,
team. Even Spurs will have something to say. They'll be like, "Yeah, you won the league, but come on, man."
so this game against Brentford, again, I forgot how nice they play, and at times um yeah, I think like they play good they play good football. They come from the back. They do a lot of times. I think like for their fans, it's probably stressful to watch when you have like a guy and there's three city guys chasing you, and you're like inside of your kind of like your third of the field. Uh, they scored pretty early on, and so that made it a little. That definitely kind of like got me out. Like, oof, this is gonna be one of those days, But I think they scored like in 20 seconds into the game. Like it was just a mistake from Stones and Ederson. They score. I think City we scored. Harlaan scored. Harlaan scored. I thought that goal was gonna be counted for the defense because he deflection. I mean, Harlaan took a shot and the goal reflected on the guy in the ball winning. And then just basically after that, City just kind of came back. We started playing like the way we play, and
When
uh,
what time mark did you guys score your goal?
I think it was like in minute 30th or something. I can pull it up right now. I think yeah, 32 minutes. No, minute 20th, and then we score another one. And 10 minutes after. So we scored in 20 minutes and in 32 minutes. The
Let,
second
let me
goal
ask
was
let me ask you about the second goal. Were they pressing you guys?
yeah, they were kind of like playing to kind of pushing City, like kind of like because they're again they're trying to play the best football. They're trying to do like I guess imitate like a version of like of Man City, of Arsenal, of Liverpool, trying to press you, but you cannot do that. Kind of like
You can't.
it's tough. It's tough because like, you might be able to get away for for a long time, but just a little mistake like that, basically you put Harlan 1-on-1 against your defender,
Pin
and
up.
Ederson. That's when we got Ederson. That was back when Sane and Sterling were playing, and I
Mm.
cannot wait for this guy to just be throwing them 70 yard passes, 70-meter passes, and just have Sane, Sterling getting them.
Mhm.
Sterling left, Sane left. Aguero wasn't really like that type of player for to be doing that. But Haaland is just perfect for him, and I think like that's we almost did it twice. Like there was a pass from Ederson. He played on the ground. On the ground. He didn't even kick the ball up. He just played like a line on the ground. But Haaland's had like like a little bit like a weird touch.
Mhm.
He could have basically gone again 1-on-1, and Haaland's looking really good right now. Haaland looks fit. I think like the break from the Euros help him. And I think we got probably see he got a green light from all the players got a green light from Pep to just what, if you see Haaland, if there's space, throw the ball. I know I told you before, don't do it. I want to change
Mhm.
it. I want to tell the teams this is what we're doing this season.
I mean, I don't think Pep is against being direct. As long as it's football, he's for it. So just because you go direct, it doesn't mean it's like typical English football route one direct. It's like you have a capable person getting
The,
the
the
ball
things
to a
like the
very
things like
capable person.
last season you'll see Haaland making like 10, 15 like 10, 15 runs, and you see like De Bruyne or Bernardo Silva or players like kind of like now let's just build it. And Haaland you'll see
Mm.
him kind of like oh come on guys, trust me. But I feel like now like I see De Bruyne, I see like Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, just if they're seeing him they're like, well, let's go for it. It's I don't know exactly why, because what changed, but I kind of now like all the runs that he's doing, he's getting the ball. Well, before he was making runs, and then you get like commentators saying, Haaland doesn't participate. Haaland only gets 5 touches, 7 touches a game, but you're not seeing the guys doing seven, 6 runs every game.
Right.
So now I
And
think that
now go ahead.
right. Oh yeah, I think like now it's changed a little bit when we're more. I guess Pep has always been like go for it, but I think like now like the system kind of involves in creating like a little spaces for Haaland to go.
You think that's why he has the most goals in Premier League history in the he's past Rooney? Because even last week, 2 weeks ago, I forgot who you played. Like some of those,
What
at
West
least
Ham, I
one of
think.
those goals. Who was it?
I think it was West Ham
Yeah, it might have been
or
West Ham. Yeah, one of those goals. It's like it, like I think Duran found him, and it was just that touch into the net. Just like it's like you just can't play American football with this guy. You can't have this wide receiver with with who's Terrell Owens of soccer or Glenn Rice with one of those midfielders or the goalkeeper with the touch of Tom Brady getting the ball out to him one on one with a defender. It's just murder. It's just murder. I wonder why. I wonder why Brentford didn't have the two center backs on him. Like, why was it just one?
Well, I think like it comes down to kind of like modern tactics, right? Like basically, you need players. If you don't go with like kind of like put pressure, if you don't go with more players to put pressure, always you get City playing like there's 4 City guys against 3 defenders. I mean 3 attackers, so you gotta go with push. Midfield has to push up, defense has to push up, and you're leaving the striker 1-on-1. So I think like that's at City might start doing that, or I don't know exactly, but I'm all for it, because I think Harlaan might put a lot of goals. He actually should have a hat trick. Like he hit the post once, and there was another shot that the goalie just blocked. Like it was a good save, so he was pretty close from scoring another hat trick.
That's a big mistake. I just still feel like that goal is a big mistake by Brentford. Like, even when you're talking about pressing or you have to push up, it's like once
you don't have to do it.
Once Edison is involved in the build-up, you go back to like a mid or half block, like, and cut down that space behind you because he's the extra. They got an extra man now. This guy's a footballer, parading himself as a. He's like, I don't watch much baseball, but the the Dodgers, they have an Asian guy who
Matani.
who pitches as well as he hits. And that's what Edison is. Yeah, that's essentially what Edison is. So it's like, we got this midfielder, Beckenbauer, wrapped up in goddamn John Buffon Luigi. Like, let's back the fuck off. Because he'll find somebody.
Let's not forget that I think, like I said in the podcast, that I didn't think Ederson was gonna stay. Like he got an offer from Saudi, like for I think like 50-60% more than what he makes at City. Which they all make good money, right? Like all City players, football players make money, but when somebody's kind of like telling you, "Hey, I'm gonna pay you,"
especially with the money that you guys are paying him under the table, yeah.
I think that's the reason. You know what? You're right. That's the reason he stick around for the money under the table. But yeah, I thought he was gonna be. I thought he was gonna leave. And I was like, man, this is gonna suck because you cannot replace a guy like that. It's how do you find another player like that?
You got Ortega.
I don't think he's not a.
Yeah.
He's a good keeper, but not an Ederson.
I know. So since you got to leave soon, let's just talk about next week. Where is this game being played? Arsenal. That's the game of the week. Arsenal versus.
They're coming to Manchester. It's gonna be I don't know exactly what philosophy Arsenal is gonna come. Last time they came, and I remember basically I also mentioned in the pod that they came and they defend, right? Like Arsenal came in and their mission was not to lose the game, and even like you got people like Rodri, Bernardo Silva. I love both of those guys because they talk, but they back it up on the field. And Rodri's like that's the difference with being champions. They go every game, they go everywhere, and they try to win the game. Other teams try to defend, and that's like a direct kind of like going after Arsenal. He even said it, and when he got the Player of the Year, and like you see, the camera basically looks at Saka and the defender and stuff, and I was like, dude, that's messed up, bro. But yeah, so I don't know exactly if Arsenal is gonna come and try to win the game, or they're gonna try to see if we can win it if City makes a mistake, or just come and park the pass. I don't know exactly, but I'm excited. I'm nervous. We might be in second division by then, but I just want to win the game,
No, you won't be in the second division until the end of the season. You're going to need those points more than Arsenal.
Lee, who do you see favorably? I want to hear from Lee, from the most neutral fan in the
neutral.
UK.
I'm gonna give my opinion after Lee. I'm neutral.
My
You
opinion on
think
what?
you think Lee's neutral? All
Lee's the
right, go
most
ahead.
neutral fan in the podcast in the UK. Okay, Arsenal City. Like, who do you see favored?
Oh,
And
City, 100%.
what do you think? Like, basically, Arsenal should if Arsenal, do you think Arsenal should come and try to like defend, or should come and
Yeah,
just let's go for it?
yeah. I think Arsenal should try and defend. If they try and go toe to toe with you guys, Arsenal were too scared to go toe to toe with Spurs today, and it worked. So I think they'll try the same. I mean, it worked against you last season for them as well. So I think there's no reason why Arteta's not going to try and do that to Pep now again. And I think they'll still have no Odegaard as well, because that injury looks serious enough to keep him out for a few more weeks. Maybe they'll have Rice back, but yeah, I think they'll play the same way against you guys.
Yeah, and yeah, I also don't know how healthy Odegaard will be next week. So, going into the season, I did think Arsenal could win, and Arsenal could still win the league based on what happens to you guys in court. So, but it is going to be interesting to see Sterling play for Arsenal versus, like I like how Arteta's bringing even more X's back to play against Man City. Like every season, he's like, come on, gang. This is the Expendables, Arteta and his crew of Man City Expendables, they come to try to win a game. But I don't know. It depends on, again, how Arteta decides to approach this game. I give him a chance for a tie, but I don't know if Odegaard's going to be there.
He's not. He's out.
He's out. It was just that bad.
Yeah.
You think? Yeah. So you can't afford to lose all 3 points. You have to play the long game. So then you got to get defensive with them and go mano a mano that way. And then how many times does City make mistakes? And the City could still make a mistake, and Arsenal can get a goal. So
or they can score from a corner.
And Arsenal has a better defense. Not even quote. They do. So they could hang on. It's a tough call.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
What they need to do is not start fast, because Ipswich and Brentford have shown us that you don't start fast at City, because then City realise that they're in a game and they have the whole game to then turn it on. You need to hit them late.
Right.
If you hit them early, then they find that gear. You need to hold them out and then try and score in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. And then Arsenal got the set pieces we just talked about. They got that back staff set piece X. They got Sterling. They got people that know people personnel over there. So
last time we came, like I remember like Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus like playing like he was a World Cup. They're like kind of like just like come on, and like these guys like really really either hate us or they really hate Pep or something. But they were going like, I was gonna say something that would have got me canceled, but I'm not gonna say that about Zinchenko. But yeah.
All right. You want to talk about the podcast derby, Lee?
Yeah, let's get into it. I mean, I was there. I had one of the best seats in the house.
Boots on the ground, baby. Yeah.
That's it. I was sat I was right by your dugout. I could almost hear what Anthony and Casemiro were saying to each other if I spoke Portuguese. And yeah, I could see everything that was going on down there. And you were talking about set piece X's. You guys have got our former set piece coach from last season, Andreas Georgeson, and you scored your first from United. He was our set piece coach last season, so he knows our weaknesses. And Man United's first 2 goals were both from corners, So he had the inside scoop. He knew where those weaknesses were going to be. He knew that if he played short to Bruno, that there would be a bad step from the defense and someone was going to play people onside. And that's where that first goal came from. But I mean, that first half hour, we had you guys on the ropes. Like it was Ten Hag, I could see him panicking. I could see the fear in his eyes every time he turned around. He was in front of me. I could see him. And he was panicking. Ruud van Nistelrooy kept jumping up to like talk to him and say, we're fucking struggling here. And we were doing everything right. We were pressing you guys. We were shutting down in the middle of the pitch. We were shutting off those passing lanes. We were overlapping with the fullbacks. Kyle Walker-Peters was getting into the final third and running at people. Sugawara was getting down the right and running at people. Tyler Dibbling, 18 years old, he put down his college homework and started running at people. And and he got Dalot to shit the bed. He brought him down for that penalty, and that's where it all went wrong for us. Because
what was the reaction on the bench when the PK happened? Like, were they like United was like, oh shit, or like, or
I mean when he won it?
When they before and after, like what? So like, I mean, you saw like I think like I don't know, I never think about like being so close from the bench. When the PK happens, you're like fuck, and then like oh yes.
But the bench pretty much celebrated like a goal. I can have a look because I recorded it. It's on my phone.
Oh shit!
I was sat right behind them. I saw what happened.
Damn, I mean that's crazy, bro.
I mean, come on, yeah, it was.
And just while you're looking for it on the set piece, our first goal, it was very similar to the goal we gave up against Brighton, where it's after the corner. Then we recover the ball, and then we pass the ball to the overloaded side that was neglected because, like you said, everybody comes out, but one person leaves everybody on side. And we got that Brighton goal back, but against Southampton.
Yeah, if you look on this, there's only one guy who jumps up on that bench. That was Ruud.
Oh shit.
So he was the only one. He celebrated like it was a goal. Everyone else just
save?
Sat there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I got beef with our manager for that penalty because our normal penalty taker is Adam Armstrong, who was on the bench, which is fine. He's not earned a start in this game. Cameron Archer, who took the penalty, has never taken a penalty in a competitive game ever in his career.
Shit.
He's only ever taken 2 penalties. They were both in friendlies, and he missed both of them.
Wow.
We had Ben Brereton Diaz in the team. He's taken 7 penalties in his professional career in competitive games, scored all 7. Why wasn't he on that kick? Fuck it. Let Tyler Dibbling, let the kid who won the penalty take the kick. Anything would have been better than that absolutely terrible, terrible penalty.
PKs than that guy.
You said you have beef with your coach. I applaud him for that call. What are you talking about?
You would, yeah. But
like that was the game changer right there.
Yeah, I could physically see the confidence drain out of our players. We didn't have a single shot in the game after that penalty. Not a single shot. After that penalty, United went and got the first 2 goals. Second half wasn't even a contest. United just got on the ball, controlled the game, didn't really let us cause any problems in the final third, just shut the game down by controlling it. It was the second half, it was frustrating to watch because I was just sat there watching complete ineffectiveness from our team. Like we did nothing second half. And you guys did well to ride out the fast start, and I think that was always going to happen. With us being at home, we haven't won yet. We had to come out and show the fans something and start fast, but we can't let a missed penalty. I mean, the missed penalty shouldn't happen because he shouldn't have been taking it, but we can't let that completely kill us like that. It shows fragility where we can't come back from that. The manager tried everything. He tried making a quadruple sub in the second half taken 4 off, put 4 on, and seeing that it was rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It did nothing.
Oh damn!
It just it was yeah, it didn't change a thing really. And it's disappointing because I feel like if the penalty goes in, it's a different game. We've got a goal, we've got something to cling on to, the confidence stays. And
maybe even go to second half like with the advantage,
Yeah, and we just we screwed that for ourselves. And as soon as United sense that weakness, that's where that experience comes in. And there's some United players who impressed me as well.
Before you get to that, let me ask you a question. Did United do anything tactical after the penalty to change the game the way it changed? Nothing? Same shit?
Not really, no. No, pretty much, exactly the same. It's pretty much it. It was just that I think there's certain players you've got who they've got like a winning mentality about them, and they could smell that weakness. Players like Bruno, players like Rashford, they're experienced. They've been there. And it was just interesting watching them operate. And I thought De Ligt was good for you guys. Mm-hmm. He was really solid. Martinez, before he went off, was really solid. It was really interesting watching Bruno as well, because he's like, there were times when I would just stop and just watch him, mm-hmm. especially when we had the ball, because I could see him as soon as the possession turned over, he's mm-hmm. finding space. He's finding space in between the lines where he's hard to pick up, and you could see those problems coming a mile off. And Rashford looked like
as soon as the ball turns over, in whose favor?
In your favor. So I was watching Bruno when we had the ball, and I see as soon as United win the ball, he's in space. Like, he immediately is an option in between the lines. Mm-hmm. And you could just see he's smart like that, and he uses the ball so well. Mazraoui, he because he was given a bit of a hard time, because Ahmad, who I was impressed with Ahmad to a certain degree, he was very predictable, which made it easier to stop what he was doing, because he's just going to come inside every single time. But he wasn't really defending a great deal. And Mazraoui was overloaded down that side quite often, with Kyle Walker-Peters going around Brereton Diaz down that side, but he dealt with it as best he could, and he looked solid. And just in that, like I say, that second half, it just took over. And I got to see Ugarte for 20 minutes or so when he came in. Hard to really tell, because the game had sort of fizzled out a little bit by that point.
I could tell.
It's like I say, the edge had completely gone out of the game by the time. I mean, you guys could even afford to bring Casemiro on. That's how bad it was.
Damn, bro.
You could let him come.
Hey, man, he had an assist with the assist. He's redeeming himself slowly but surely. That's a great way for a guy that messed up a lot in the game before to like add something.
Yeah, I mean, against 10 men who'd given up, and we were rightfully down to 10 men. I was not in agreement with it at the time,
right?
Because it happened right in front of me, but the angle I was sitting at, it looked like he had just grazed Garnacho's ankle, and then Garnacho had made a meal out of it. And then in some of the WhatsApp chats I'm in, people were messaging me going like, "Nah, wait till you see it." And I went on Twitter and I looked, and I saw like a replay of the tackle, and I didn't realize it started at the knee and then went down to the ankle.
Damn.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a red." That is a red. And I mean, he's banned for 3 games now, Jack Stevens, but he's the
captain.
Yeah, he's also not been our best defender during that time. So we're like, maybe he needs to go and sit for three games and think about what he's done. Because we got Bella Kotchap, who wasn't even in the squad today, and he's there and he's fit. He played in the Carabao Cup for us. I'm like, get that man back in. If he wants to play, get him back in, because he's a monster, and I know he's a Premier League quality defender, which I'm still not sure Stevens is right now. So yeah, we'll see. But all in all, we needed to make it count when we were on top, and we didn't. and you guys took advantage. You took control.
We needed the three, man. We needed the three. You know, I watched the game over, and I don't know if it's because when I watched it again, I knew the score. So I was way more relaxed in that period of dominance that you expressed earlier. But I also, it was frustrating to see you guys dominate. But it's because, we're United fans and we're disrespectful. Like, you guys coming into this game are the second leading ball possessors in the league, right? And passes. What was your stat behind Man City?
We were second behind Spurs. We'd had the ball more than Man City, and we were the third best pressers.
Third best pressers. So, in retrospect, if we give you that respect, then United weren't doing as bad in that period. And we also did create some chances before you got the penalty. Like, it was kind of coming. We had some great counters that took us right down to your goal mouth. And even after the penalty, that was a counter that ended up being a corner, which ended up being a goal. So there were some notable Man United players. Since you did a great analysis of the game, Xerxes, I mean, he's just out there nutmegging people, just these delicate touches, connecting the play, keeping the fluidity going, like making me believe that United can have an attack this year. And he's beautiful to watch. And he was against a team that I'm going to give you guys the credit of, like, having the most possession besides Spurs, even though that possession hasn't helped Spurs and it hasn't helped you guys. But I feel like you have to have the ball to score, right? You can't just all be smashing and grabbing, even though it's working out for Nottingham Forest. Jesus Christ, which I do want to talk about that game. So Xerxes, I don't think Manu had that great of a game. I feel like he got targeted, and you guys did come out really pretty physical too. Eriksen, when I watched the game again, I feel like he had a better game than I thought originally, like connecting passes and stuff. I feel like it would have been better if you'd have played Manu and Collier. I'm like, if your coach is going to have the balls to play an 18-year-old right winger, right? Why can't we have the balls to play our energetic kid who is good at passing and has way more energy than Eriksen against a team that I knew from you was the second leading possessor of the ball in the league? So I was like, we got to find a way to get them. I knew he wasn't going to start Ugarte. I knew he wasn't going to start, but I was like, we're setting ourselves up to be dominated at home by this team that's good at holding on to the ball and that's good at pressing. So I didn't like that. So maybe Collier will play midweek. I watched also the Liverpool game again, and he played good. We played better without Casemiro and with him in. He's got legs, man. He runs. And sometimes we don't play a midfielder that can run, even though we got Ugarte, so that's good. But Xerxes has to put away some of these chances. And then also you're not the only person that said that Diallo, Ahmad was predictable. But then when I watched the game again, I didn't see that predictability. Like, if you overlap him, he will pass to you. Like, Bruno overlapped him a bunch of times. Mazwari overlapped him a bunch of times, and he never ignored the overlap like Anthony would. Anthony has never seen an overlap that he likes. Like, he'll just take the ball, go inside and lose it. And then sometimes Ahmad would go inside, dribble. And there's passes that he passed the ball to Xerxes, and Xerxes should have had like 2 shots on goal that he didn't take. He dribbled a little bit too much and did lose it. So his game wasn't perfect, even though I loved him. It's great to see Marcus Rashford score and get off all those videos he's been posting during international break about him taking shots. All right. I guess that was real footage. You worked on your shot. It worked. Delit had a nightmare of an international break, but I'm glad he got all his mistakes out the way. Thank you, Harlaan, for letting Delit exercise all his demons in your defense and not in ours. We appreciate that, so that he could come back energized and sharp. And and he said what?
One thing I'll say as well, he is a unit.
He's big.
If you see him in person, yeah, he is like he's a big old boy. When he came off, he came and sat like right near the side of the dugout that I was on. And yeah, he's a big old boy. He's wide as well, because he's like 6'2", but he's like big. And
I like hearing that.
Harry Maguire though as well. Harry Maguire in person as well is also just. I mean, I knew he was a unit anyway, but if you ever play those two together, strikers are going to be physically scared of that. They might, that's the time when you play pace against Man United if you see those two.
Harry Maguire's brain don't even work right. Like, he comes on the field, right? And Bruno got a card for the same thing.
Maguire got booked in seconds. Before. Yeah. Straight on.
And the big talking point was Declan Rice last week. Like, I'm not in the Premier League, and I know Declan Rice got a card for that same thing. His first play. It's like, bro, what are you doing? And it's like, it doesn't make any. I mean, the only thing that made me happy is when he was limping. I was like, good, he might not play next week. Thank God. Who else? Martinez.
I gotta jump out the league. Next week, man, Southampton, Ipswich. We got it, Oh man, you just look scared. Don't give me that. Come on, man. I'm not.
I'm going to that. I've got a ticket to that game as well.
If you don't want us to, do you see Liam? Do you see that he got it scared? He's like, oh, I don't want to play that.
You should be scared. Ipswich got 2 points.
Yeah, whoever loses that game should be relegated on the spot.
Ipswich didn't win the game. They had a rough start. They had to play Arsenal, then Liverpool, then City, and then the next 2 games they got points. So,
Well, I'm rooting for you, even though my boy Ian, even my boy the Lap is playing for Ipswich. But I want him to score one goal.
I did want to talk about the Lap though, because he had an amazing run. Who did they play?
Brighton.
And I was like, and he played. I saw him during the international break. Played for the under-21s. Was that the under-21s? I was like, this kid, that run. How old is he?
He's like 20, 21, I think. Yeah.
He might be younger because he's playing for the under-21s. Like, I don't know how, if they.
You can play there till you're 22. Really,
22.
He's 21.
Yeah.
But that's a man run at 21, 22. So imagine more of those runs, like you get 25 stronger. And I did make a note when I saw that highlight.
You cannot buy him. We have a buyback, so he's coming back. Sorry, and they're trying to get him, but you can't.
Nah, there's no room for him. There's no room for him on your team.
He's got certain attributes, but he's not first team quality for City. He's got something, but he's not got that.
Once Harlaan is like, I'm tired of the Premier League, man. I wanna go play in Madrid with Mbappe, Vinicius, and some wonder kids that we don't know about in Madrid science stuff. I'll take the Lap. You know
who's another Harlaan wonder kid? His teammate for Norway. Is who he plays for Norway? It is a teammate of Harlaan who's pretty good. He has to play wide of Harlaan, but that guy, I don't know. Is it Strand? Is it the guy that's at Wolves?
I was gonna say that's name is Oscar Bob, but yes, he's a wonder kid. Ian.
No, I mean you already got Oscar Bob, but there's Norway got some talent.
There you go.
All right, fam. But yeah, I was just trying to big up some of the players that did play good. The lot, he got skewered by your boy Diblin. Diblin, props to him. But after the penalty, the lot figured out how to deal with him. And there was one time Diblin got him in the box again, and Delot just like handled him off the ball. And then after that, I don't even know if he got subbed out, but I did not hear or see Diblin's name, number, or the back of his jersey ever again, or Delot in trouble. Also, Delot is playing on the side of the pitch that's not his side of the pitch, so let's give him credit for, and he got an assist later on, so he kind of made up for giving away the penalty that turned the game around for us. So he negatively, positively impacted the game, but when he got skewered by Diblin. But Diblin, that's pretty impressive.
That was his first ever. That was his first ever Premier League start ever.
Right.
He's come off the bench in some games and he started in the cup, but that was his first time starting, and he had to come off after 60 minutes because he was knackered. He was done. He had cramp. Like his body's not used to playing Premier League football for that long.
Right.
The fans booed when he came off because they didn't realize. Like I could see the kid was done, but the fans booed the manager because they thought he was taking him off, like because he wasn't playing well. Which he had kind of gone out of the game by that point. But yeah, it's like I was like, why are people booing? This is stupid.
Yeah, because the penalty was at the 30-minute mark. And after that, if he came out at 60, he was on the pitch for half an hour doing nothing. You know what I mean? So it's like, why are you booing him? Like his period is over, and like you said, he's a new player. You got to bring these new players in, break him in. Like we're playing Manu too much. That's why I hope we have a midweek game in the Caribou Cup. I hope we play Eriksson and Collier or Gato and Eriksson. I don't want Manu playing a midweek game when we got Crystal Palace on the road at the end on the weekend. Like let's hope we can get a win and not like unless we play him, we blow them out early and then we take them out as soon as we get ahead. But Onana for saving a penalty, which he hasn't done, I don't think, not in the Premier League. And he's normally not like a good Premier League goalkeeping saver. So I give him props to that. And he was good with the ball at his feet, which we've been critical of. It's like, why we get this goalkeeper who's supposed to be good with the ball at his feet? And he's not showing that to us. So he showed that to us this game. And he made another save off Diblin, which was pretty impressive early in the first half. And Mazwari, like I almost forgot him because it just goes without saying. Like he's really made me not miss knock on wood, Wan-Bissaka. Like he's really just effortlessly, like we have some good decision makers on the right now with Ahmad, who just God bless him, man. It's just doing his thing, especially since, Sancho is somewhere else showing out for for his new man. You know what I'm saying? So that's the United Southampton soccer comic rant podcast derby wrap up. And Eriksson, good game. Do you want to talk about Chelsea versus Bournemouth, or you want to talk about Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest first?
Get into that Liverpool Forest. That was a bigger game, I think.
That's what I'm talking about, Lee. That's my baby. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's get into it, fam.
Well, first of all, I'm angry. I'm angry at Liverpool because I made this. I was debating all week. Do I captain Salah or do I captain Harland in fantasy football this week? And I was thinking, okay, Brentford, I think, are a more solid team than Forest. I'm going to captain captain Salah, because I think he would have more opportunities against Forest. And yeah, that was a mistake.
I would blame you more than I'm blaming you more than Salah.
I was like, Haaland's human. He's going to have a quiet game. Some point.
He was human. And he only scored 2 goals. That's as human as he gets.
But yeah, no, that was my bad. But yeah, I mean, Forest came with a game plan and executed. Done. It's I think this is good as well. I think Liverpool fans were getting a little bit too carried away with the new manager.
Yes.
And it's like, now let's get a bit of negativity sprinkled into that fan base again.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, Nottingham Forest knew what they were doing. They were a threat on the break, especially in that second half, and just yeah, they came out and did it. And I was really impressed by how Nuno played that game as well, because he did something very specific in terms of his lineup. Like he didn't
Yes.
start Hudson-Odoi, and he
Right.
didn't start Elanga. He left
Right.
them on the bench. He's like,
Mhm.
I'm going to set up a certain way. He pretty much had like three. He didn't play really with wingers. Like they was like he had Anderson, from the guy who joined from Newcastle, playing almost like a tucked in role. Dominguez on the other side, and yeah, they just looked to stay solid. Obviously, Liverpool had some chances, and Diaz came really close with one in that first half. But yeah, for the most part, they were solid. It's good to see my boy Ward-Prowse putting in a shift
Oh yeah, your
in that
boy.
mid.
How'd you feel about Ward-Prowse being over there now?
I mean, I'm upset. It feels weird seeing him in a Forest shirt, but yeah, he's there.
Are you guys rivals or something?
No, it just feels weird seeing him there.
Right.
Felt weird seeing him at West Ham, to be honest, but it's like, yeah, it's I'm glad he's somewhere where he's going to get games now.
All right.
And yeah, they were solid. Like Wood isn't really going to help on the counter attack because he can hold the ball up, but he's not going to run.
Mhm.
And obviously Gibbs White was sort of providing the energy in that midfield, but then they made that change. He decided it was time to put the pace on.
Yeah.
When there were gaps appearing and Liverpool were getting a little bit more under pressure in terms of, we need to break these guys down. We need to get at them. And yeah, Nuno just called the bluff, and he was like, right, here we go. Send on the speed. And it did the job. And it almost did the job twice. There was that time when he got the ball to Elanga, and Elanga screwed the chance. That Gibbs White laid it off to him, but then second time it went to Hudson-Odoi, and he did his thing. He cut inside, and he was smart. He used the defender as a screen. Alisson couldn't really see because Alisson didn't even dive for it. I think he might have even thought he was going wide, but just kissed the inside of the post, and just a classic smash and grab performance from
But
Forest.
a layered smash and grab, like you said. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna say everything you said, but in just my own words, like we're gonna just like I've been listening to a lot of books about World War II, and when some armies attack, they want to establish a bridgehead before they go full in on attacking like a town. So you want to establish a bridgehead, and then you can bring the troops through the bridgehead and then launch a full attack. And I feel that's exactly what Nuno did. Like first you enter in this hostile territory. It's Anfield. It's the we'll never walk alone. It's this vibe. So let's stabilize everything. Let's get comfortable first. Let's like it's the first night in a horror house. Let's let's just let's not antagonize the ghost. Let's like just spend the night all huddled together in a tight bunch and get used to the screams and the noises and the shrills. And then the next day is like, all right, let's, like you said, let's bring on one speedy winger first. Let's start probing. And then let's bring on the other speedy winger and let's start probing some more. And now we're used to all the things that you're supposed to be worried about at Anfield. And then in the 70 something minute, like even as far as the goal, like I've seen experienced players like Elanga, or more experienced players than Elanga, try to get that ball across to their version of Callum Hudson-Odoi, with like all those Liverpool players kind of like cutting off the route, and there's only one specific way you could get that ball to that wide player, but you have to be calm enough to do it. and the ball had to be precise. And that's exactly what he did. And once that happened, then we have like a one-on-one in the middle of the pitch. And like you said, like normally players don't even take that type of shot from that far out, but it's just, I got one go at this. I can see the corner of the net. I'm being shielded by the goalkeeper's only defender. Let me just have at it now and go. And another thing for Nuno, you had 20 minutes to see this out. And 20 minutes to see a game out at Anfield ain't easy. And they did that shit. And Nottingham Forest, they're on the low. If I go to you don't want to look at the table this early, because Lloyd was trying to brag about where they are in the table. And I'm like, Lloyd, are you a professional fan or not? Because you're not supposed to be looking at the table. But I will look at the table. And I just did that to shut Lloyd down, because he's bragging that they were fourth at the time of that game. But Nottingham Forest have 8 points and they're seventh, which is pretty good for, a team that had to fire their coach last year. So, Nuno's back and well played. And I lied to you before we go to the Chelsea game. I did watch the Aston Villa game, and Everton went up 2-0. This is what happened.
Same as they did last week.
Same as they did
last game.
Yeah, the last game. First of all, for Everton to score 2 goals on the road to Aston Villa, a team that's in the Champions League, before they've ever even played a Champions League game this year, so you can't say that they're tired and stuff like that, even though most of their players were away on international break. Everton, you did good. You did good to score 2 goals on the road. It's good that Calvert-Lewin has scored 2 goals, 2 games in a row. So props to Calvert-Lewin for that. But they were never going to hold on to this lead. Never, ever going to hold on to this lead. You just knew it. Like Villa were going to fight back. They're at home. They have they're missing Leon Bailey, but they got so many pieces that Unai can play around with and interject into the game. You got Morgan Rogers, who's just a monster growing before our eyes. And, people are looking at him now and thinking about the possibilities and the potential. And, they have their full squad besides one player, Leon Bailey, but Buendia's back. And then they have their formula of Ali for 70, Duran for 20.
The bench weapon.
And Ali, and to be fair to Lloyd, he told me Ali starts the year off slow. And I've been trying to tease him about Ali not scoring and blowing some great chances. I ain't worried about that. He doesn't start scoring until later. And then this was later. He got the 2 goals back and made it 2-2. But the goal I want to talk about, and Everton fans, if you're upset with your coach for losing another 2-goal lead, I want you to put the goal that beat you in perspective. If you're an Everton fan, that goal was so out of pocket, so out of nowhere, right? Such a banger, an absolute drone strike that nobody expected, to the point that just think about this. I know you're angry because you just lost 2 games in a row from a winning position, but that goal, right, was so fucking amazing that Emi Martinez, who plays and has won 3 international championships with Messi, possibly the greatest player ever. I've never seen Emi Martinez do this to anything Messi's done. Never, ever. That's how crazy that fucking goal was. Like, I was talking to Lloyd, and I was like, Lloyd, do you know Emi Martinez plays with Messi? And Messi's done so many amazing things, but I've never seen Messi make Emi Martinez walk away from a goal that his teammate has scored like that, like, and say, what the fuck? Anana was on the bench. He was like, what the fuck? So you didn't just get beat by an accident, like by like a mistake from your team. That, and I know what happened the week before was crazy, but that was a wonder goal. And people who have played with wonder players received it like that. So that's why I wanted to cheat, just to talk about Duran's goal. And that's the third game winner in 4 games. So their formula of 70-20 is working.
He's still only 20, Duran, as well.
Straight out the MLS, baby.
It's crazy.
Crazy. Crazy. So this, what's your I want to ask you about this Chelsea game. But I also want to, should we talk about it first and then I ask you this question? I have a theory.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chelsea won this game without really playing that well from what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't watch the whole game. I've watched like the extended highlights of this one, and you know, Bournemouth started bright. I think Bournemouth at home, they're the sort of team that comes out fast as well, similar to like we did. And you know, Tavernier unleashed that rocket at the start, absolute rocket. Like, that was clean. If that went in, that would be up there with the Duran goal, but it you know, cracked off the bar instead. But that was a hell of a hit. And yeah, they had chances. Obviously, they got the penalty, and Evan Nilsson, that was, you know, he hit it a little bit better than Cameron Archer hit our penalty, but that was a real top save from Raya. And I'm not even sure it was a penalty, that one. Because,
me either. Yo,
yeah, the ball goes through and not Raya, sorry, Sanchez just stands still.
Bro, I'm in my living room going, am I crazy? And the commentators who played in the Premier League are like, Stonewall, penalty, Stonewall. I'm like, what is the keeper supposed to do? Dissipate?
Yeah.
Like he stood there, you run. Thank you.
Yeah, Evan Nilsson ran into him.
Yeah.
And like, I think you have to just chalk those ones up to like, yeah, there is a collision, but it's like, that's like, yeah, like you say, he can't vanish into thin air. Right. So the player's momentum takes him into the keeper. So yeah, not a penalty for me. But I mean, yeah, Sanchez, you know, ball don't lie. It was, you know, it was a great save. And yeah, just from that moment on, I mean, yeah, Bournemouth had a couple other chances as well. Like Clivert had a good chance. But yeah, it was, you know, Sancho just, he pulled out those dancing feet, found Nkunku in that little pocket of space in the box, and yeah, Nkunku's composed. You know, he pulled that finish out calmly as well, despite the fact that he was surrounded by like 4 defenders. He just looked up and picked his spot, which is, you know, that's why they paid the money they paid for him, because, you know, he's gonna do things like that. And, you know, I mean, that must be a positive for Chelsea fans that they've got players who can, because they're both off the bench, they can, you know, they can throw players like that in, and they're game winners. So that's a nice position to be in. You know, they're João Felix off the bench as well. If you're bringing in João Felix and Nkunku and Jadon Sancho off the bench,
that's crazy.
I
never even thought of it like that.
That's a lot of expensive talent. That's a luxury position to be in. So you're damn right, you better be going and beating Bournemouth if you've got, you know, £200 million worth of talent, maybe more than that, maybe £300 million worth of talent.
They were only paying 40 for Jadon.
but he's, I mean, how much you guys paid? Like 90 for him, didn't you, or something crazy?
Nah, 70 something.
Was it? Okay,
we paid 76.
Not quite Anthony money.
But they wanted more the year before, and then we didn't buy him, and then we got him for 76.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just, you know, good position for them to be in.
Just on that game, Bournemouth has a very counter-attacking, pressing, disruptive style that threw a Chelsea team that had, I guess, a lot of international players. Like, they won a lot of balls in the middle of the pitch. They countered, they got shots. And I was worried for Chelsea because they had no Lavia, who I knew is very press resistant. So they had this new kid that I never seen before, Renato. What's Renato's last
Veiga.
name?
Veiga.
And the first half, he's lucky to stay in the game because the first half, as a CDM alongside Caicedo, they weren't doing it. But the second half, I was like, oh, there goes Renato Veiga. That's why he's on the pitch still. Like he started showing his abilities, he started dealing with the pressure, and then the other subs, right? The other subs, which, like you said, that's amazing when you could, superstar, come in, superstar, get out. That's pretty bananas, and that's another thing. It's like Spurs can't do that. You know, Spurs can't do that. That's why they're going to be in trouble. You know, like, you know, and then also Tosin, like, I worry about Chelsea defensively because if it ain't Fofana, Colwell, Gusto, and Cucurella, and I'm not even counting what's his name because he's always injured.
Chilwell?
Not Chilwell. Chilwell's training in a farm league somewhere. They don't want him close to the team.
No, apparently he's going to be training back with the squad again now because they couldn't sell him.
You couldn't sell him, and they who's going to back up Cucurella? You know, like, but who's their captain? Reese. Is it Reese Nelson? Reese.
No.
Who's Chelsea's captain when he's not?
Oh, Reece James.
Reece James. So I'm not counting him, but like once you don't have those four guys that I mentioned, then that's when Chelsea's defense gets suspect. But Tosin came in. They got rid of the is it Badiashile? Disasi, because he's not on the level of those guys, and he made their defense kind of suspect. So, and Tosin's like, oh, Tosin can hang. So now they have this extra, like, central defender that can play as good as those guys. So now it's like, okay, you see some things going on with Chelsea's defense that could help them in the future as far as their depth is concerned. So, like you said, Sancho comes in, has the half of a lifetime, like just going at defenders. All of a sudden, his speed is increased. I don't know where this pace came from because he did not have it for most of the 88% of the games that he played for United. That speed was not present. The take on ability, all that shit was absent. Listen, I don't miss him. I know that he didn't want to play for us, so he was never going to do that for us. He was never going to emotionally be able or available for us, or his skill set was never going to be emotionally available to us because he didn't want to give it to us, whether subconsciously or he just was not happy. So fine, you went on there, you showed out, and you got an assist. And Nkunku shrugged off three defenders calmly and coolly and put the ball past the defender. The goalkeeper scored 1-0. Great way to make your debut. Now, you mentioned, and so this is my question. This is my conspiracy theory, right? Now, I don't know if you know where I'm going, but this is my conspiracy theory. So you agree with me that shouldn't have been a penalty, right? And what's the name of the keeper for Chelsea?
Sanchez,
who has been maligned. They think like he's not good enough. But
yeah,
that guy,
Potts dropped him for the is it Petrovic last season?
Right. But I like him.
Petrovic.
I feel like he's good. So I think like I don't know. Then he saved a penalty. Then because of the first half, the amount of goals that he saved, to me, you save a penalty, you save all the other saves. You save a failed midfield in the first half of the game and compensate for all the mistakes. Sancho comes in, plays 45 minutes, gets an assist, not even the goal, like give the player of the match to the goalkeeper. But if not the goalkeeper, the game winner, Nkunku. But instead, they give it to Sancho. Now, whose job is it to name the player of the game?
I'm not sure. Because I'm looking like a ratings thing, and Sanchez got 4.5, and Nkunku got 4.6, and Sancho got 4.4. So they rated it higher than that one.
They rated what higher?
They rated the keeper higher than Sancho.
And I would have too. So is them giving Sancho the player of the match to kind of like they couldn't come at Eric Ten Hag because we won the day before, but they're like, let's get him by like this is going to be a talking point. The player he got into it with goes to City, goes to Chelsea, and becomes player of the match in 45 minutes. Am I thinking that this is the media's way of still trying to come at Ten Hag? Because they've been coming at him all international break. And is this their way of like just putting in like another brick? Or am I just like being defensive?
I think you won this weekend. You should stop being paranoid.
Nah, I refuse. And when you're paranoid, you have no choice. You're just paranoid. You can't just stop. It's just what it is.
Oh dear.
But yeah, I think that was a weird man of the match thing. I feel like there's two people that could have got that ahead of him. And why are you rewarding Sancho for not playing well for the team that brought him to the Premier League, but for playing for any other team that will loan him? But fine. I'm glad, like we said last week, we want Sancho to have a good future. So go ahead, have it. I'm happy with Ahmad. Ahmad is down for us. So I'll take that. You want to do fantasy league? We can bounce.
Oof. Yeah, not a good week for me.
Oh,
like
man,
I say,
come on, Lee.
I picked the wrong captain. And I came so close to getting because I put but I could sense that we were going to give Dibbling the first start, so I put Dibbling in my fantasy team. I saw it coming, from earlier in the week, and I put Dibbling in. And if we score that penalty, then he gets assist points for me, which he did not get. The only player that did anything for me, only two players that did anything for me were Harland, obviously 2 goals, but not my captain. Yeah. And I had the foresight to put Mazraoui in at least. So that was my insurance, was that if we don't play well and we don't score, I'll get points from Mazraoui. So
that must be the most painful way to get points.
So yeah, if Dibbling had got the assist for the penalty, I wouldn't have, and we'd scored it, I wouldn't have got the clean sheet points from Mazraoui. So it was, I was going to get something out of that one way or another. But yeah, it was a bad week for me. I've slipped. Damn. I've slipped all the way down to 18th out of 40.
Damn.
So
where's
back
Martin
down into that mid-table. Martin had a good week, which annoys me.
Shit.
Because he captains Harland and he had Watkins. So
shit.
He doesn't have Salah, because I had Salah and Palmer who did nothing this week. So it's a gamble because they're expensive in fantasy football. But he had Saka who got the assist, and Watkins and Harland in there. So yeah, Martin did pretty well. Brian Avina is still top. He's the only person into the 300s points wise. He captained Harland as well. He made that good decision. He had Smith Rowe in there as well with an assist, and White and Saliba with clean sheets. Doubled up on Arsenal. He knew Spurs were going to Spursy. So congrats, Brian. You knew what was up. Yeah. And Ahmad Zekri still sitting there in second. We got an unchanged top 2. He captained Harland as well. So he called it right.
Well, you know what to do now. Since you have him, you might as well captain him and maximize him. He had no Euros. He's fully relaxed.
Salah had no Euros.
but Harlaan still is. Harlaan still had more goals than Salah last year, and Harlaan had an injury-plagued season. So you just go Harlaan. This is, you know what I mean?
But now I'm looking at it next week, and City are playing Arsenal at home,
Ah,
and
shit.
Liverpool playing Bournemouth at home. So it's like, do I go Salah or do I
I
just
go
back
Salah.
Haaland?
I go
Or do I
Salah.
just? I've got it as Salah at the moment, but it's like, do I just back Haaland because Arsenal can fall to pieces? I don't think they will in this game. I think they'll be defensive.
They're going to be defensive, and if they play half block, Haaland can't score those goals because, like, when you're a decent defensive team, like we played them in the Community Shield, and we also played them in the preseason, and we played them in the FA Cup, and we can shut him down when we mid and low block. You know what I mean? Like when you have like competent players, he can't score. And then Liverpool gonna be on some revenge shit. You know, they gotta make up for this.
Wounded animal. So yeah, I might do that. I might keep it with Salah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I've got a whole week to ponder it. I'll see how the Champions League pans out as well.
All right. I do want to say about the Liverpool game, nothing was more fun than watching Onslaught's brain run out of ideas on the sideline. Like you could see the shit. Like the week before, they talk about the post game speech he gave about how he broke down United, which is like they gave him all this praise for playing a game plan against United that we played against Man City in the FA Cup final. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you just said it. You just said what we did to Man City in the FA Cup final. It's like, what a coach, what a genius. Look how he just broke down. Now, and then this week, like, you see him like, he's like the Mr. Han in Enter the Dragon. Shalom, Shalom, get him. Like, calling players off the bench. Nothing's happening, bro. Nothing happened. You just changed personnel. You didn't change no tactics. You looked, your brain looked on E, fam. You didn't do nothing out there except looks clueless, and it can happen to anybody. And you all that confidence that he exuded 2 weeks international break ago, zapped, gone, and it was beautiful to see. I was so happy because they use him to shit on our coach. So now we won, you lost. I'm happy. Yeah. Anything? Did we cover everything? Do you want to say anything about Champions League?
I want to give a shout out to Conor Gallagher for getting his first goal for Atletico Madrid against Valencia today. 3-0 win. Julian Alvarez got his first goal as well. So all of their Premier League purchases are weighing in today. But yeah, I like Gallagher, and I think he took a little bit of unfair stick. People saying like, oh, he's not technically capable of playing at the level Chelsea need. Like, I mean, he's got some, he's got some strengths and some areas that he needs to improve. But ultimately, he is a good player, and I think he's a good fit at Atletico as well. He wasn't necessarily the right fit in that England midfield in the Euros because of what we needed. What we needed was Mainu alongside Rice. We didn't need Gallagher alongside Rice, but in a Diego Simeone team, running and gunning, he's doing it. And it was a good goal as well. It was a nice little move on the edge of the box. They popped the ball around and then played him in. He just burst into the box and finished. So they're using him right, and it looked good.
I also feel like in a league like that, he'll get technically better. I feel like when English players go away, they get technically better.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the league is more technical, but what he brings is like that Premier League pace, and then now he'll see the difference between him and those players and have to work on his technical ability, and you add that to the pace, so he'll be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. Any Champions League games of note that we should be like? Let me see.
Have a look. I know the ones that we spoke about with the English teams. involved. But there's this new format as well now, so it's like the league. So AC Milan, Liverpool should be fun.
Okay.
Villa got their first game, but they're playing young boys, which feels more like a Europa League game, even though they're in the
I know,
Champions
yeah,
League.
that's it. That is funny. That is that does, like, Lloyd told me, and I just forgot immediately. But I was like, that don't sound like a Champions League. This sounds Conference League.
Yeah,
Just
like,
two Conference League teams playing in the Champions League.
Yeah, it's like we'll give you a gentle start. We'll ease you into this Champions League business.
Yeah.
But yeah, AC Milan, Liverpool, and Man City, Inter are the games that jump out.
Let me see. It's not even coming up on mine. I'm just getting the finals from last year.
There's some other fun games though, like Atletico Madrid, Leipzig. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be good. Real Madrid ain't paying. Stuttgart is fine.
Yeah, Girona got PSG in their first game.
Oh. Girona played Barcelona, I think, this weekend. I got to see it.
Yeah, Barca took him to the cleaners. Dani Olmo's on fire since he joined them.
Yeah. And Juventus, just a shout out to just on feeling. Like I've watched PSG because I was like, how are they going to do without Mbappe? And they are like, there's a feeling about this team, bro. Like when you watch them play, it's electric. And I've always liked Dembele, especially when he's being maligned at Barcelona. But the Einstein way this guy plays on the right, like the shit, when a player he plays right wing with like an elite midfielder IQ. Like how he figures out like his options of things that he could do to that defender, and then he picks the right one. And he got 2 goals, I think, this weekend. He scored the last game, and I think the game before, he's got assists. And then him and Hakimi like did some shit this week down the right side of that thing, and then Barcola on the other side. And everybody's playing hard. You know how they used to be like Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe aren't running back and playing hard. Like there's nobody on the team of that level. And then I think they have the ex-Real Madrid player. What's his name? Asensio. So he's got that Champions League quality, and he has something to prove to. And yeah, man, they look exciting, bro.
Yeah,
and it's going to be a collision course.
More rounded team now without the Galacticos.
Yeah,
like they got Skriniar at the back as well. They got Fabian Ruiz, who was immense for Spain in the Euros. He's running that midfield.
He scored this weekend too.
Yeah, it's a good team. Really, really good team now.
Did they always have Fabian Ruiz, or did they just get him?
Yeah, he's been there for a few seasons. He was there when Messi and Neymar and Mbappe were, but he was just obviously in the shadows because no one's talking about him then.
Right.
And they were still bringing like Kolo Muani off the bench this week. They got him in the mix there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a nice team. They got Zaire Emery as well. Didn't even play. I don't know if he's injured. But yeah,
I don't think Vinta played.
Yeah, it's a more rounded team now.
They're exciting, bro. They're exciting. Like I watched the highlights and I felt electrified just watching them in the crowd. And there's a collision course between Marseille and them because De Zerbi's at Marseille. He's got a bunch of players from the Premier League over there. Greenwood, who didn't score this week, but probably is the leading scorer in League One. And they've got even Mopai scored for them. This is how much of an asshole Mopai is. I forgot who Marseille played this weekend, but it's the team that gave him a start when he was 16 years old and made Mopai. Guess what Mopai does after he scores? he celebrates. That's how much of a wind-up merchant asshole this guy is.
You see, Rabiot just agreed to join them.
Who?
Marseille.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, just literally agreed it today.
Oh shit! All right, because his situation was leaning towards panic because so he got in as a free agent because they kept on linking him to United, and I was like, should we? Should I couldn't call it. Is Marseille in Champions League?
No, I think they are Europa. Not 100% on that, but I think they're Europa League.
Lille plays Sporting on Tuesday, and
they might not be in any Europe actually. Looking at it,
it's bananas.
I don't think they qualify for shit.
Oh shit! So they might. They're winning right now. They haven't lost, so they're on a collision. It's already a big rival. So I hope to see that game. Lille. So we get to see just as a name a note, Angel Gomez. He's at Lille, right? And they play Sporting in the Champions League. So he's in the Champions League. So he gets to like sell his brand some more and boost it. So yeah.
He'll be back in the Premier League at some point, I think.
We could get him as a free agent, bro.
I could see him slotting into that Arsenal midfield with Rice.
Why would you even say some shit like that? Whose side are you on here? Obviously not United. Well, hey man, good podcast. Sorry and not sorry, but we needed that 3. Your coach will still survive if they gets points from other games. You'd be all right.
We need to get some soon.
Yeah, you do need to get some soon. I hate your coach's hair. His real hair looks like a toupee. Like, who's doing the front of your coach's hair? Like, what is that about, bro?
He's just showing it off. He was just doing it to mock Ten Hag.
I'll take the no here and the 3 points. Well, all right, fam. One love. See you next week. And everybody be good to each other out there. Enjoy the midweek games. All right, one.
Yeah, we